Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can build my beat. Take into account I must account for what I really think. I can't believe I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself if you believe it though. You never questioning yourself if you believe it though. You know the deal, please don't take the L. Never taking no L's if the Lord helps me along. Never taking no L's, so I stay wealthy so long. Never taking no L's if the team with me on. Never taking no L's, so I stay as he goes. We just landed on the moon in the Lambo. Taking pictures with the zoom and the angle. Our predictions coming soon with a halo. Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can build my lead. Take into account I must account for what I really think. Being in the space I learned to see. I'll only ever make what every day I can't believe I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only vibe to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? I said, are you a believer till the end? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever trusting in yourself if you believe it, though.
Hey, crypto family. Hey, what's up, world? Hello, hello. It's been a while. Hope you all doing well. I'm your host, Ian Balina. Welcome to this random pop-up live stream of Tokenmetrics Live. Hope you're all doing well. Let me know how the stream's going. We've not done this in a while. Trying out a new platform and streaming to several different platforms. So let me know if everything is good. Then we'll do the usual, start the Q&A, and basically give you my perspective on where we are in the crypto market, because we've been getting this for a while. Is this the end? Is the bull run over? Are we ever going to have altcoin season? So we're here to have an impromptu stream and really just give you my honest take on where we are in the market and where I think we can go. All right, let me just get things situated here. Let me actually take off the screen share. Just bear with me here. Here, let me just switch screens real quick. All right, here we go. What's up, world? It's been a minute. Let's see how we're doing. First person on the stream. Actually, let me switch this over. So I'm looking this way. First person on the stream. We have Easy Eats 95 first. Welcome to the house. We got G2. Hey, what's up? Donald, what's up? Lucas, Lord Misfit, Humbles. What happened to TMI token? Man, we're still waiting on altcoin season. We're still building. We're still just here grinding, getting ready for the on-chain tokenized indices. But the market has been, it's been wild. I can't lie. You made a pump fund token. Wow, you guys are fast. Yes, we did. I was trying to stream to pump.fun, but for some reason it's not connecting our streaming platform to it. I don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody could help me. You guys do not. You got. I guess somebody has bots monitoring our stream. Let me see. Can you guys see this here? Minute. Let me try to pull it up. Sorry, you just got so many different windows here. Open. Okay, yeah, so this is the official TM Live token. I was trying to stream, but for some reason it's not streaming. So if anybody knows how to do this pump.fun thing, let me know how to connect our live stream. We're using Riverside. So right now we're streaming on both YouTube, X, Twitch. I tried streaming through Telegram, but that was not working as well. So if anybody knows, but anyway, yes, this is official. This is not an official endorsement. This token has no value. We're just trying to stream because obviously Pump is big. So we try to connect our stream there since we're already streaming. But for some reason, it's not connecting to Riverside, our tool that we use for streaming. But anyway, we're here to talk about crypto, but especially altcoins, right? I've gone on the record. Let me actually pull up. This is an old video and presentation I did. And it's officially been 2 years. 2 years. It's been that long. It's been a minute. Let me switch this here. It has been 2 years since I said we're on pace to have the biggest altcoin season of all time, right? And guess what? We've been waiting for a while. We're just hearing crickets. The biggest altcoin season of all time has not arrived yet. And I'm here to answer the question I've been getting almost every single week on our premium webinars with customers. Is the altcoin season ever going to happen? Right? Not just even with customers, even with our investors and our fund and everything. Everybody's saying altcoin season has not arrived. Yeah. This analysis was done back in October 13th, 2013, give or take, more than 2 years ago. I went on the record saying we're going to have the biggest altcoin season of all time. So what exactly is happening? Has my perspective changed? I'm here to answer the question, right? First of all, this cycle has been completely different. This is what I've been saying to our customers. This has become a trader's cycle. What does that mean? The old notion of buying and holding altcoins and just waiting for them to pump, where a rising boat lifts all tides, that notion is out the window. This cycle is officially different. Now, I've been saying this for some time, but what does that mean? Let me break this down, why I think this cycle is completely different, right? If we just go to, let me pull up our market indicator. Because you have to kind of go through and just see how big the market has expanded, not much, to realize why it's different. So if we just zoom out here, last cycle, crypto peaked at about 3 trillion total crypto market cap. Here we have November 9th. Was given of the total crypto market. Last was right after everything kind of peaked. We had the whole FTX collapse, the whole CSS collapse. Everything just came collapsing. Now we're in November 2025. 4 years later, what is going to happen? a lot of people are saying this could possibly be the top. I know people were saying Q4 2025. My analysis, I said, I think anywhere from spring to fall 2026 being the top. Historically speaking, Bitcoin peaks first, then you have Ethereum and large caps, and then altcoins, right? So let's just go through the data, right? So altcoins peaked November 2021. If we go to Bitcoin, so I'm using our platform Tokenmetrics for all this analysis. Let me actually switch to our signals here. So what I'm looking for, so Bitcoin peaked okay, hold on. It's nice. Yeah, so it peaked. For some reason, it keeps on resetting. Okay, I guess looks like we have a glitch here with the real-time price. But anyway, Bitcoin peaked November 2021, right? Bitcoin is king. Bitcoin leads the way. It peaked November 2021. Then we go to ETH. Let me switch to the price chart. Zoom out. ETH peaked in this, we'll say, tail end of November, maybe December 2021. So ETH peaked a little after Bitcoin. Now, I think the best example of an altcoin that peaked way later, there was this NFT altcoin. I think it was ApeCoin. Is this the same ApeCoin? Let me just double check. It's been that long since the NFT craze. But let's just take a look, because I believe just peaked 3 to 6 months later. And we zoom out. Yeah, we can see here, this peaked in April to May 2022. Right, so basically Bitcoin peaked first, then ETH, and it's the old adage of crypto. People make profits in Bitcoin, then those profits trickle down, right? Once Bitcoin peaks, they cash out, they take those gains, put those gains into other large caps, into Ethereum, Solana, and so on. And then, so for example, people taking profits into ETH would then start speculating on ETH altcoins. People taking profits into Sol will start speculating on Sol, meme coins, altcoins. And it's basically the whole trickle-down effect of altcoin season. But going back to what I mentioned earlier, last cycle, it peaked at 3 trillion total market cap. This cycle, as of today, 4 years later, we are at 3.6 trillion total market cap. So really, only about $600 billion of capital has entered the market, right? So that's the first point I'm trying to make. Not much has happened. Really, this cycle has been a Bitcoin cycle. But now, how many total crypto assets have entered the market? I mean, my guess is 100, if not 1,000 times more tokens have entered the market. It would be good if we could actually get an official number for this. I don't know who tracks it. Let's see. Maybe CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap. Let's do all coins. Let's ask AI. How many total cryptocurrencies on CoinGecko or CoinMarketCap in 2025 versus 2021? Let's see if somebody has this data. But my hypothesis, but I think it's very highly probable. Let's say 1,000 times more tokens are available in this market versus last cycle. So you have 1,000 times more tokens fighting over just net 600 billion of new capital in the market. So as a result, it becomes a parallel distribution where the winners win and you have very, very few winners, right? So last cycle, you had, let's say, 10,000 tokens fighting over 3 trillion total market cap. This cycle, you'd have what? Let's say 1 million tokens fighting over 3.6 million total market cap, if not more. So as you can see, because of that, it becomes a narrative-driven market. It becomes a trader's market. So I think this part is very crucial to understand. This is what's setting the market this cycle. This is why, unfortunately, you cannot value invest in this cycle. It's very difficult, and because last cycle you had to basically find, let's say, 1 out of 10,000. If you have to now find 1 out of 1 million, I mean, you have to be real good or just straight up lucky, which makes it very difficult. Hence why most people in crypto have given up. They're just taking the big trend, whether it's X402, like a few weeks ago, or prediction markets last month, or perps last month as well. They take the hot, sexy, shiny new thing in crypto for the next week or the next month. They trade it, they take profits, then they cash out. So that's the name of the game this cycle. It's unfortunate, but that's just the honest truth. Okay, so this is saying 19,000, about 20,000 tokens on CoinGecko versus 9,300. Now, I wouldn't necessarily trust this because CoinGecko and all these platforms have been inundated with way too many tokens that they're also gatekeeping. I think you have to factor in projects like those on Pump.fun, right? I think Pump.fun has, like, how many tokens do they have? If we go to, if we go here, right? People are launching coins all the time, right? So, and not all these tokens end up onto these different token sites. But in general, that's the name of the game. So what does that mean? Does that mean the Bitcoin bull run or crypto bull run is officially over? Bitcoin has been very, very bearish. It's about across 100K. A platform says it's a sell. It's down about 19% in the last 30 days. So what exactly is happening to Bitcoin? So my hypothesis, surprisingly, has not changed. If anything, this gives us a bigger base to bounce off of. But the honest truth is, it is difficult having to wait for so long for an altcoin season. So going back to the chart here, if I go to, right? So I've gone on the record all the way since 2023 saying, I think Bitcoin is going to go to 140, 145K. I still think my prediction is pretty conservative relative to most people I've seen. You heard some people saying 500,000, 1 million. I'm not going to go so bullish per se. Bitcoin has done pretty well so far. It has been a Bitcoin-driven cycle. So I think Bitcoin is correcting. Who knows how low it will go? But if Bitcoin does bounce back, I do think we go towards 140, 145K. Anything above that, I think it's super optimistic. Obviously, we'll take it. We'll take any wins we can get. But the question then becomes, what happens to altcoin, right? I know that a lot of people out there are very frustrated, myself included. And some people are saying the Bitcoin cycle is over. If Bitcoin crashes, this is the end. There's no altcoin season. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. But obviously, we have to kind of deal with the reality of the market, right? We can't hope or wish for altcoin season. We have to kind of just react to the market, right? And right now, Bitcoin is crashing. So if it's crashing, how low can Bitcoin go? So let me actually take a look here. I don't really use this much, but let's see. So right now Bitcoin is at 100K. Actually, let me. Huh. Yeah, I think there's not really much. There's a lot of support and resistance at 100K all the way down to 98K. So I would not be worried. Now, I would not be in Bitcoin. We're out of Bitcoin, but I would not be worried per se thinking this cycle is over, right? Because you have a lot of macro that's heavily affecting crypto. And that's also something very different. That was never really the case. I never was a person that believed in macro. I believe in the notion of just value investing, buying and holding. But when Trump tweets, the whole market could drop 20%, right? Like what happened on October 10th, right? The whole tariff wars. But for crypto to bounce back, for this to not be the end, for the altcoin season to happen, what are the fundamental catalysts that have to happen? I think, let me just turn this off real quick. There's a lag. Okay, let me stop screen share. Okay, yeah, apologies on the lag. Okay, somebody's saying smooth. Okay, seems like it's lagging for some people, and for some it's not. Maybe it's a connection issue, I don't know. But I'll just keep on going. But anyway, what are the fundamental catalysts for all this to turn into the altcoin season we've all been dreaming of, hoping for, waiting for, right? One, the whole trade war with China and the US has to officially be resolved. Now, if we're still waiting for this to be resolved, I think the volatility is just way too much for us to be able to just value invest or even invest in crypto. If anything, people will just be trading the markets. So one, the trade war has to officially be resolved and be a win-win for both sides, meaning that the US wins, China wins, and there's no more playing the game of chicken on who's going to break first, right? So that way we're not having Trump or just even the macro affect all risk assets, not just crypto, right? Because typically what happens is crypto trades the fastest, it's 24/7, globally traded, right? So when Trump says we're imposing 100% tariffs on China on a Friday, crypto is the first to react. Then other risk assets like stocks and equities react on Monday, but that is just flushing a lot of capital. And this cycle is different because this cycle is heavily leveraged, right? Whether it's hyperliquid, whether it's Bybit, a lot of capital in the market is heavily leveraged. And October 10th was ridiculous. A lot of people I know who've been in crypto for almost 10 years. I just crossed 9 years in crypto. I joined crypto back in October 2016. It's crazy, almost a decade in crypto. But a lot of people who've also been in crypto since then, they got wrecked to a point they're trying to find jobs. They were full-time in crypto, but I mean, leverage is a hell of a drug, as they say. I've always avoided leverage. It can help people blow up, unfortunately. But anyway, this cycle has a lot of leverage, so things can get flushed out of the market very, very quickly, right? But anyway, the big first catalyst I would look for, the trade wars to be fully resolved. Two, the US has actually done pretty well this cycle, although it's taken a while, to really lay down the infrastructure and the regulation for a pro-crypto regime in America, and making the US the crypto capital of the world. What does that mean? So we had the Genius Act, stablecoins bill being passed. We have Stripe launching Tempo blockchain, raising $500 million, buying Privy wallet, which we also use for token metrics. Also using, or rather buying Bridge for about $1 billion. So, and even I would say as of the last few weeks, we're starting to see this new meta of not just stable coins, but neobanks, right? I've been myself trying to find the best platforms to basically just earn stablecoin yield as a replacement for savings accounts. The two platforms I've been testing out, not an endorsement, but from my research, one is Tuyo. I just made a deposit there, and I believe they're doing an airdrop. And the other is Fluid Key. Let me actually pull these up here on x.com. And then we'll go back to the screen share. But I think this is kind of like the Trojan horse for getting retail and normie into stablecoins and into crypto. All right, so let's do this again. Now I'm just kind of sharing with you what I'm doing. These are not official endorsements. So actually, this one I came across over the last week. It's called Tuyo, tuyo.com. It's from the team that made, I think, DAO, like some DAO project from 2017. But basically, these neobanks are kind of combining your banking with stablecoins. And really, why I'm trying them out is if you can get 8 to 10% APY on stablecoins, that beats what you're earning with your bank. Banks will give you maybe 3 to 4%, right? So this is one I'm trying out. Now they're actually, I think, doing an airdrop. Then the other one is Fluid Key, fluidkey.eth. Basically the same concept, right? So now this one is a little different in the sense that they actually, right? So they'll have iOS, I think some even have Android, but basically their apps, you send your USDC stablecoin. Okay, so it seems like there's an issue with the stream. Hopefully that's not affecting it, everybody. These are two apps I'm trying out. I'm just kind of sharing this. Let me know what you guys think. If there are any other apps you guys are using. But I think this is kind of the way retail and normies get into stablecoins and earn yield. But anyway, I think if you're going to be very bearish on altcoin season, I think, let's say Bitcoin peaks in Q4 this year, right? Let's say this is the end. If anything, Ethereum and others, I think, would peak a little later. But I refuse to believe that this altcoin is going to end at 3.6 trillion total crypto market cap. After all this groundwork has been laid out, really in the US, to create the biggest bull run of all time, right? So I mentioned the trade war as one factor, as one fundamental catalyst that I think would be pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin, and pro-potentially an altcoin season. And the other one is the macro, Trump. If Trump has been waiting to just fire Jerome Powell with the Fed, right? If that happens, if Trump fires Powell and puts in his appointed Fed chair that's just going to print a lot of money and make the numbers go up and bring back QE. Now, obviously, it would not be great for the US dollar, but it will be great for stores of value like Bitcoin, because this is one part I would say I definitely agree with some of the Bitcoin maxis or even people like Benjamin Cohen. Bitcoin has to do well, right, for altcoins to basically have a chance. That's just the honest truth, right? What does that look like? Well, I mentioned Bitcoin has to go to 140K or higher, right? Bitcoin peaked at what? Like 120? right? But let me switch here. It picked a 123K. So we basically have two options. One, we're wrong. I'm wrong. This is the end of the party, the swan song, uh, last call. We all get out. And this cycle is officially a different cycle where it's just Bitcoin. Altcoins get wrecked, where it's a parallel, right? Where there's just so many different altcoins fighting over net 600 billion of capital that there are no big altcoin season winners. And it's just sector rotation, narrative rotation, people riding the trend, people surfing the trend, and accumulating more Bitcoin. If that's the case, then so be it. If not the case, I think you have to look for the trade war to end, for the Fed war with Powell and Trump to end, and for the US to have the ability to just print money into oblivion. Now, I do think the US dollar will lead to a drastic collapse. I've kind of shared this with our customers via our webinar. But that's why Bitcoin was created, right? And I think the US kind of sees this and is going heavily into stablecoins and crypto regulation, because if crypto becomes the future of finance, if crypto becomes the new money, they don't want to be second. Right? It's kind of like the AI race. Crypto is the finance layer of AI, and whoever wins that will dominate the next 100 years or more, right? And the US does not want China to dominate both AI or crypto. So that's why America is going all in on this. So it's going to be a wild ride, but I think if those two things happen, the altcoin we're all waiting for will happen, but you cannot fall in love with the altcoins. That's just the honest truth. The way I would play it is I would just accumulate stores of value, right? So that would be, for now, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol. I would maybe add a few new altcoins that I think will stand the test of time. So the high barrier we had for filtering out shitcoins has to go even higher, right? And really, I would say the narrative I'm seeing this cycle, outside of memes and just trading, if there's anything you're going to hold as a store of value, it has to be tokens that actually accumulate value via revenue share. Right? That's why Hyperliquid has done very, very well. Pump.fun has also begun to do well once they announced their buyback. So these projects like Hype and Pump.fun, they have a lot of capital. They have a huge war chest. So I can see these projects being around for the next 4 to 5 years, if not longer. Right? Basically, next cycle, I think they'll be around. Hype has enough money. Pump has enough money that they'll be around. Right? And they can spend enough money and buy back enough money of their token. But this cycle has been very different in the sense that the fundamentals do not matter, which pains me to say as somebody that was a fundamentally driven investor. But that just happens when the market matures, right? I hope I've laid out the picture of why fundamentals don't matter. If you have 100 to 1,000 times more tokens, fighting over little capital becomes parallel. So the winners win. And the winner this cycle, you have the pumps, you have the hypes. So the notion of every altcoin going up, that's old news. All right, let's see how we're doing. Let me check the chat. I know I've been on a spiel. Hey guys, it's good to be back. Let's go live on Pump.fun again. I have to figure out how that works. I tried going live, but for some reason it's not working, which sucks. But we'll figure that out. We'll also figure out how to go live on Telegram. Yes, we had to make a coin to do live streaming on Pump, but the coin has no value at all. If anything, the real token is TMAI, but unfortunately, the market has been brutal, man. It's been brutal, but we're here. We keep on building. We're getting ready to launch the tokenized indices. Actually, um, maybe I could showcase the indices real quick. Let me just make sure I'm logged in here. Let's play a little music. All right, just give me a second. Getting my wallet. Okay, I think I'm almost done.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo. Taking pictures with the zoom and the angle. We'll be coming back to you with the same pulse. Our predictions coming soon with a halo. Questioning myself if I believe it though. No longer question if I'm really a believer though. Now you should take into account that my account can fill my belief. Take into account I must account for what I really think. Being in the space I learned to see. I only ever make what every day I can't believe. I gotta go. It's the only life I know. I believe it in my mind, so I know it's time to show. It's the only about to go. I do believe it. Do you believe it? I said, are you a believer till the end? When your funds are low, can you believe in it again? No longer ever questioning yourself.
Okay, all right. Let me share screen. Yeah, definitely be sure to give the live stream a thumbs up, like, and subscribe, and tell a friend to tell a friend that we are live, or they can watch this after. All right, so let me just do a quick preview on our tokenized on-chain indices coming. And this kind of the reason why we're building this. So what we're building is the ability for anybody to buy a basket of crypto assets. So rather than trying to find the next 100x altcoin, I know people want to do that. You can still do that, of course, but we're building a place or a platform that allows you to just own the whole market. Because as the market gets bigger and bigger and more mature, and you have the parallel distribution happening, it becomes almost impossible to find the next style, the next altcoin. Right? So if anything, you're better off just owning the whole market, but actively getting out of it when the market goes bearish. Right? So what we're launching, for those of you who our customers already know, is the tokenmetrics on-chain indices or AI indices, and initially it'll be the TM Global 100. So in one button, using fiat or stablecoins, you can deposit funds and buy the whole market or the top 100 market cap tokens that are available on 6 EVM chains and Sol. But that's really the premise, right? So it takes this plus using our market indicator, which is designed to help you get out of the market when it's bearish and really help you from these sharp drawdowns. Right? Like, for example, our signal turned bullish October 11th. So actually, one day after Black Friday, you can say October 10th, when the market lost a lot of leverage. So basically, it buys the whole market or the top 100 tokens in one buy, right? So you don't have to go out there and buy 100 tokens yourself. It will buy the top 100. It will rebalance weekly from our back tests because crypto is so volatile. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a narrative-driven cycle. This cycle is a trader's market. So you have to do weekly rebalancing, right? Because you have new tokens constantly entering the market. So our index will handle that for you every single week, passively, fully automated. And then when the market goes bearish, it will go into stablecoins, right? So that's what we're working on. Right now, we've been slowly onboarding users into this. So if you're a customer, just reach out to us. But this is what we'll be launching. We're doing this slow and steady because obviously we're dealing with capital. So right now there's a limit on how much people can invest into the indices. I believe it's capped to 1K in stablecoins. And then we'll slowly ramp that up. And we're slowly inviting people into this. But this is what we're building. The cool thing is we built the infrastructure where this is not just, so initially it's just one index, but the idea is we can launch all kinds of indices, whether it's the TM50, the TM AI. So we can also have sector-driven indices. But this kind of goes to hit the point home if we're getting 100x more tokens, if not more, with not as much capital, meaning that the market is getting more mature and there'll be fewer winners, you kind of have to go towards an index-based approach of just building a portfolio and constantly rebalancing the portfolio. All right, let me check the chat and see how we're doing. All crypto moons are in the red. No single X since post. Yeah, I mean, altcoins in general have not been doing well. That's just the honest truth. This cycle, it's been a Bitcoin cycle, and me as an altcoin guy, even I had to come to terms with it. Right? The projects we shared in the past, while they had great fundamentals, great technology, the market does not care anymore. That's just the honest truth, right? I know like Space Mesh, I think they're shutting down or pivoting to a different project. I know Ironfish, they got acquired by Coinbase, and the team's now building privacy on Base. But yeah, it's just been unfortunate. Nothing else really to say. Why is Bitcoin not below 100K again? Oh, why is it below 100K? I mean, Bitcoin is correcting. The market is correcting. The question is, will it bounce back? That's the question we've been trying to answer. And I think now I'm optimistic. I've always been optimistic. I'm a moon boy. I'm bullish, sometimes to a fault, but I've given the bullish scenario of what needs to happen, right? So, for those who are just joining the stream, the two things that need to happen really are macro driven, right? The trade with China has to stop happening. Otherwise, anytime there's any surprise treat from Trump saying they're imposing 100% tariffs on China, the whole market is going to flush, right? Bitcoin actually weathered the storm pretty well. A lot of people were kind of saying October 10th was pretty bad. It was not that bad. For those of you who were around during the COVID crash, it was not that bad. I think Bitcoin dropped maybe what, 12%? ETH dropped what, 15%? Like, to show you how bad the COVID crash was, I was working, building tokenmetrics. I went to sleep maybe 2 a.m., right? Went to sleep, the market was fine. Everything was A-okay. Went to sleep, woke up around 11 a.m. Basically, by midday, altcoins were down 40%. Bitcoin, I think, was down 20%. ETH, maybe 25, 30%. Like, it was bad, right? This cycle, or October 10th, it was bad for altcoins that got affected by the ADL, the automatic leveraging on perp dexes, on Hyperliquid and Binance, because Binance was kind of the issue. So whatever market makers were market making those tokens, those dumped. I believe Atom dumped 80 or 90% on one candle, right? So those altcoins were heavily affected, but they ended up bouncing back. But it was nothing like COVID. COVID was a lot worse. Trust me on this. Go live on Pump. I've tried going live. It's not streaming for some reason. Now this is the first time I've tried doing it, so maybe I'm doing something wrong. But basically, it's a custom RTMP. I put in the code, but it's just not streaming. So I'll figure that out. Maybe the next stream. But yeah, it'll be good to definitely get some viewers from Pump here. Trump has had a major effect on how everything has played out. Uncertainty in the economy creates fear in the markets. Yeah, I mean, they're doing what it takes. I mean, I get their perspective. They're trying to save the US dollar, and they have to basically kind of bully all these countries to renegotiate the trade terms to get a better deal, right? Man, people really are pushing for me to go live on Pump. Let's see here. So it's connected. Let's see.
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
Let's put on some music here as I try to see how we can do this.
We'll be coming back to you with the same falls. Our predictions coming soon with a halo.
Yeah, because we're on X, YouTube, Twitter. All right, maybe we'll have to figure this out at a different time. I still think there's hope for a bullish market within the next 6 to 8 months. I think if you're going to be bearish, I think spring 2026 is the official end. If you're going to be optimistic and bullish, I think fall 2026, because historically speaking, every bull run lasts about 25% longer than the prior bull run, right? That's kind of been my thesis all the way since October 2023, and I don't think it's going to change. The only way it could possibly change is if the parallel dynamic of just too many tokens fighting over not much capital causes most of the gains to go into Bitcoin, and then all the Bitcoin maxes win. But that's not a fun world, right? But hey, maybe it happens. Okay, somebody's saying the top is in. Alts will get a crazy rally just like in 2017 as Bitcoin bounces. Which actually reminds me, I wanted to show this chart here. Let me pull it up, because it might actually be helpful. So let's go back to the screen share. Okay, so what I wanted to show, this is actually from CryptoRank. They have a pretty cool table for Bitcoin, but for all the tokens. It actually shows you the price analysis over time. So just looking at this here, we're in November, right? So historically speaking, November has gone up an average of 37% since the inception of Bitcoin, with the median being about 9%. So as of now, we're down 9% this month in November. Last year, this was one of the better months for Bitcoin. It went up 37%. Second highest, the other highest was Feb 2024. So historically speaking, looking at all the other months, average-wise, November's been the best month. But in terms of median, it's been all right. There've been higher months median-wise, but I think I'll probably lean more towards using the average here, right? Like we have here back in, this was October 2013. Why is it showing October for November? Huh, it's kind of backwards. I'm not sure if this is a bug or, but anyway, we can see here there's a lot of green. Now, if we do the same thing to Ethereum, this month. Okay, I guess it's looking at maybe rolling 30 days or something. It's showing October, although it's November. November just started. But on average, ETH goes up about 5%. The best month for ETH, historically speaking, we have January. Reminds me, January 2018. That was the Ethereum peak back in 2018 cycle. Then we have May, averaged about almost 35%. But if we use median, yeah, I wouldn't use median because the sample size is pretty low. But historically speaking, Q4 has been a good year for crypto, for Bitcoin and ETH, in that sense. Okay. Because somebody's saying I should stream from the screens. Okay, maybe I could do that. Okay, it is not recognizing my camera. It seems like the pump.fun guys don't want me to stream. Let's try this again. The stream coin. Let's put this in the chat here. That is maybe I'm getting too old for this. All right. I can answer some questions as we try to figure this out. Yeah, we're already streaming on Twitter. We've already streamed on Twitter. All right. Let's see. What other questions do people have besides streaming on Pump? Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, ADA, XRP, Link. What about them? I mean, kind of gave my analysis on Bitcoin and ETH. So have been bullish on it, but the market right now is very, very bearish. So I would not really be trading much. Honestly, I'd be on the sidelines until things become better. And I would just be using the automatic market indicator. TMAI, any updates? Yeah, I mean, I mentioned on-chain indices that are coming out soon. That's really it. No other updates. We just keep on building. When the X42 trend came, we already have an X42 integration with our API. Yeah, I definitely appreciate all the help. Still trying to get this to work. Yes, the stream was not advertised. This was an impromptu stream, including the pump.fun link. But looks like, oh snap, we are live. all right, we are live. Let's go. Hold on, It was just showing I'm live. Oh snap! Oh snap!
We just landed on the moon in the Lambo.
We did it!
Taking pictures with the
All right, appreciate the help. Crypto family in the house. We are live. TM live, yes. Looks like people are out here in the trenches and figured out we were streaming, trying to stream on Pump before we even announced it. All right, so hopefully there's no lag or feedback because I'm streaming on different platforms. I'm using a regular platform, then doing the Pump stream manually. All right, so I'll just be rambling on here. The Pump stream cannot see my screen share, but let's go through the questions here. I haven't seen you since 2021. Where you been? I've been in the basement building token metrics. It occurred to me that you don't know who I am because of my YouTube name. Yeah, it's hard to tell, but let me know who you are. Yeah, I just posted the Pump stream in the chat. We are live, so if you're on Pump, peep out, just search for Token Metrics Live. But obviously, there are a lot of scams out here, so don't get scammed. Now, we will put this here. So now we're officially streaming on every platform: YouTube, X, Twitch, Pump. We're looking to maybe adding Kick. I hear that's doing pretty well as well. All right, let's see what's up. Bring all the questions. I'm here for maybe another half hour or less. For those who just joined on the Pump.Fun stream, we'll give you a quick recap, right? I've gone on the record saying we're going to have the biggest altcoin season of all time. And a lot of people are wondering, why the hell is altcoin season, right? It's been a Bitcoin cycle this cycle, right? Bitcoin maxis are celebrating. Altcoin maxis, not so much. So with Bitcoin about to cross 100K and go lower, is this the end? Is the Bitcoin and crypto bull run over? And I say, one, this cycle is very, very different. Historically speaking, you could value invest in crypto. You could buy an altcoin based on fundamentals, based on technology, and just buy and hold, right? Whether it was buying Polygon last cycle when it was under $1 or under pennies, basically, and it goes on to do 400x, if not 1000x, or Helium network. This cycle is different, but we have to ask ourselves this question: why is it different? And just going back and just looking at the data, it all makes sense. And once you figure out why it's different, it forces you to change how you play this market. And why it's different is last cycle, crypto peaked at about 3 trillion total crypto market cap, 2.9 to be exact, right? But we'll round up to 3 trillion total crypto market cap. That was the amount of money in all of crypto. Right now, as of today, as Bitcoin drops to almost 100K, we're at 3.6 trillion total market cap. So that means in 4 years, we've only added net $600 billion of value in the whole crypto market. Right? Just think about that. Only $600 billion of new capital has entered the market. But how many new tokens have entered the market? CoinGecko says it's gone from about 9K to 19K total tokens. I wouldn't believe that. We obviously have more platforms now, like Pump.Fun, where we're streaming at the moment. How many tokens do they have, right? So I beg to differ and say that we have probably 100x more tokens this cycle than last cycle. So you have 100x more tokens fighting over $600 billion of new capital. Or put differently, you have 100x more tokens fighting, if not maybe even 1000x more tokens, right? I'm actually being kind of conservative, I think. But let's say 100x more tokens fighting over 3.6 billion total crypto market cap. So just putting that in the big picture tells you what? It's a parallel distribution. So not many tokens are going to win, right? Because they're fighting over a small pie. I mean, the pie is getting bigger, but the party is getting bigger too, right? The party has blown up. The party has gone viral. Everybody's entering crypto, trying to launch their own token. right? So as a result, the winners win and most tokens will lose, right? There was a tweet I saw last week. I shared this with our customers on the Tokenmetrics webinar. But same thing's happening in stocks, right? If you look at the S&P 500, right, 99% of the return on investment, of the gains, have happened with, I believe, 3% of stocks in the S&P 500. Just think about that for a second. That means only 15, about 15 stocks out of the 500 are responsible for more than 99% of the returns of the S&P 500. And I think this was pretty much historically, right? Don't quote me on that, but basically over a long period of time. Meaning that everything else did not make you money. You're better off just holding 15 stocks in the S&P 500. And in crypto, it's a lot worse. It's more magnified, right? Not 3%. I would say probably 0.3% or less, right? So if we have, what, 20,000 tokens, according to CoinGecko, I think even more, 0.3% of those will actually deliver the returns. So that means you cannot fall in love with these altcoins. And that's me as an altcoin lover. Maxi made a lot of money with altcoins. This cycle is different. This is why the mindset of this cycle is to trade tokens, right? To trade the narrative. Every single week, there's a new narrative, or every single month, right? Last week, it was X402. Recently, it's neobanks. Before that, it was perps and prediction markets. Before that, it was memes, AI. So there's a sexy, shiny new sector or token that's always becoming en vogue. And you have to just surf that wave and then take profits and get out. So with that being said, that's how you have to play this cycle. But as a result, fundamentals do not matter. And that's the honest truth, right? Because who cares about fundamentals when you have 10,000 more tokens or 100x more tokens, right? Because eventually you reach a point where the market is just saturated with too much value, and not everything can get the capital it needs, even if it's good. So the things that are getting the capital they need are based on their narrative, right? Like X402 projects had their moment in the sun last week once Coinbase and A16Z began hyping them and pumping them, right? So that's really it. All right, let's see how we're doing with make a tweet. Yeah, we can do the tweet later. I mean, we're not here to pump the pumped out fun. It's really just an additional venue for us to stream, since we stream already. And I can see we are at a 30K market cap. Wow. We're here. We started pretty, wow, 6x in 6 hours. I think it's better to just let it organically. just do well. Oh wow. Is this real? 450K trading volume? This is sorry, this is my first ever live stream on Pump, so I am learning as we go. This is crazy. Tweet your coin will be so this, yeah, we'll do a tweet as well. Maybe we can have our team kind of push this out. But yeah, this is not too shabby. Okay, so I see. Okay, so it looks like I can tweet directly from Pump. Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Maybe we shall tweet. All right, the tweet is going out. Looks like this is easier than I thought. Okay, I'm not logged into the Tokenmetrics account, so I did it on my personal. I will have to do that one. Actually, let me see if I can log in. That would be better. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps on having a lag. I'm in the burbs, so I don't have Google internet anymore. Although my SP should be pretty fast regardless. Okay, so I've logged into. Let's try this again. Maybe we can get the. So I'm back on the other platforms. Now let's tweet out the pump stream on our X, and let's get the word out. And then we'll go to the chat. Actually, I've not been looking at the chat on pump.fun. Maybe I can get some questions from there. I don't know if it's struggling because I'm doing two streams at once on different browsers. Yeah, it's saying device is struggling. All right, let me go to pump, answer some questions from there. All right, so yeah, we posted what's up pump.family. What questions do we have here? This reminds me of a Poloniex troll box. That was back in the day. That was like October. All right, so It seems like I may have to end the Riverside stream if this keeps on causing issues, because for some reason I can't stream. But anyway, let's get back to Q&A, and then we'll wrap things up. I hope you're all well. Hope you guys are weathering the storm. This has been a wild cycle. Okay, we're officially back. So audio and video should be good. If there's some jitters, maybe just try the pump.fun stream. There should be audio. The actually stream quality, I'm pretty impressed with the stream quality. I mean, maybe we moved the whole stream to pump.fun. I mean, for a bunch of crypto guys, they've done a pretty good job building a live stream platform. The higher it goes, the more creator fees we get. All right. Well, post some questions. If we don't have any questions, it's not really much to kind of ramble on, other than, hey, we're still building Tokemetrics TMAI. I know it doesn't look like it because the market is just brutal, especially the altcoins. Our token is wrecked, to be honest. But we're still here grinding, building, getting ready to launch our tokenized indices. Basically, for those who are brand new here, especially those in pump.fun, you can go to tokemetrics.com, sign up. We've sent out early access. So we've been onboarding people slow in a gradual manner. But the idea is we're creating tokenized on-chain indices. We're using fiat, credit card, or stablecoins. You can passively invest into crypto, into an index. We call it the TM100. It will buy the top 100 tokens based on market cap across 7 chains. So 6 EVM chains plus Sol. So I've mentioned before, if the market is going to a narrative-driven cycle, a narrative-driven market, it's a trader's market. You have to trade, right? So the indices buy the whole market for you. They rebalance for you on a weekly basis. Initially, not to fracture liquidity, we plan to have just one single index. It's kind of like our version of the S&P 500 for crypto. But kind of following the hype model and the pump model, any trading fees generated, a portion of those will be used to buy back the token, which is TMAI. The token is available on many exchanges: Gate, MEXC, BingX. Uniswap, Airdrome, most exchanges, it's available, right? But the idea is going forward, the new fundamentals for crypto, for any token to really have value long term, is to do buyback and burn, right? Taking the hyperliquid model, taking the pump.fun model, and that's what Tokemetrics is doing with TMAI, right? So I know it's been a long time coming. Thank you for all the patience, but that's what we're building. Maybe we can use some of these fees from Pump to buy back the token. That'd be pretty cool. Oh wow, we're about to cross 50K market cap. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Pin the Pump token SIA on your Twitter. Yeah, we could do that. So yeah, I think we now kind of figured this out. Although it'll be nice if we can do everything through Riverside. If not, we'll just kind of have to have like 2 different screens open. But the stream on Pump is pretty smooth. Can you pay DEX to your coin? We'll go over higher. Not sure what you mean by pay DEX. Any thoughts on utility tokens such as Akash, AKT? Akash is great fundamentals, great technology. It did well when the AI narrative was big this cycle. But AI has been dead for a while as a narrative, right? Like last year, actually around this time in December, was the AI meta, the AI narrative. So we basically had, actually started maybe in November, we had AI memes. So AI XBT came out. That did a 10x. One of my friends got in super early. $3 million FDV. It went to, I think, like 800 billion, maybe almost $1 billion FDV, but it came down crashing. Then same thing with AI 16Z, right? That did pretty well. That went to over $1 billion FTV. But if you look at it now, it's completely wrecked. Completely wrecked. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but because the market is just going from one sexy shiny object to the next sexy shiny object, right? So yes, people do look for fundamentals and value if it's the current narrative that's in vogue, but nobody's going to touch fundamentals or anything with fundamentals or value if that narrative is not in vogue, if it's not the sexy shiny narrative of the week or the month, right? For example, like perps. Perps did well. Well, Hyperliquid is a little different because they just make a lot of money and buy back the token. Actually, one thing I've not really covered is as the economy gets worse, we're entering an economy that's purely driven by speculation. There's this professor on YouTube that went viral for basically predicting that the U.S. will bomb Iran. His name is like Professor Jian, is some professor from Yale. Teaches now at a private prep school in China, but he's actually Canadian, I believe. But he has incredible lectures on history. If anybody who's a history buff, just likes learning about civilization, highly recommend you watch all his lectures. I have gone down the rabbit hole, watched all his lectures. I watch them all the time. And surprisingly, if you kind of tie his perspective, because he thinks the US dollar will collapse. Looks like the stream is crashing out, but I'll just keep on going despite the lag. But he speculates or posits that he believes there'll be a World War III. I don't know if I would lean so much that way, but he believes that the US empire will collapse and the US dollar will collapse, which will lead to the US having to defend itself and the US dollar by starting a war in the Middle East. It doesn't matter what politics you believe, but he believes this will happen in 2026. And he believes this will happen in spring 2026. For those of you who were watching the stream earlier, just looking at pure TA and where Bitcoin has gone in past cycles, I said peak could be spring 2026. So that's a very active date I'm watching. I'm watching it actively, not to speculate. We obviously don't want to go down the conspiracy theory route, but hey, you have to just kind of have different theories and see which one plays out. But that's exactly why Bitcoin was created, right? And one of the things he says is all empires have to die eventually. No empire lasts forever, right? The Greek Empire didn't last forever. The Roman Empire didn't last forever. The British Empire didn't last forever. The British Empire basically died after World War II, right? So if we're basically about to have the potential changing of the guards with the U.S. Empire, right? In what world does the U.S. Empire collapse? Basically, when the U.S. dollar collapses, right? The U.S. dollar was taken off the gold standard. If they print money into oblivion with QE, and it just keeps on going up, and eventually the US dollar becomes worthless. If other countries stop believing in the US dollar, right, and the US petrodollar, basically, what else would they believe in? Bitcoin. This is why I believe Trump and the new administration is actually pretty smart. They realize that they cannot let this happen at all, right? They have to either create the next war, World War III, or I wouldn't even call it World War III. I would call it more like just kind of like the Iraq War, basically. Some war to create value for the military-industrial complex and the US dollar to keep the US dollar power, to keep the US dollar in power, basically. Because if the US dollar drops in power, no other currency is going to replace the US dollar. The only currency that would even have that opportunity, I believe, is Bitcoin. And that's the world where Bitcoin becomes the leading store of value. And in that world, the US wants to be number one by accepting Bitcoin. That's why I think they're going all in to not just be pro-crypto and try to make the US the crypto capital of the world, but to also really make stablecoins widely adopted, right? Because I think you have kind of this theory You have the theory of crypto being the financial layer for AI. If AI is going to be the biggest technology shift in human history, right? It's kind of like we went from horses to cars to planes. So we're going from planes to AI. And that entire financial layer is going to be crypto, right? Whether it's AI agents talking with each other through X402, like that's all crypto driven. That's why Coinbase, that's why Cloudflare, that's why Google, they're all adopting it. This is where the future is going. But in that world, what's going to be the winning currency? They hope that it's going to be stablecoins in the US dollar. But if not, it might be Bitcoin or something else. So that's why I think the US is going all in on this. And we're here to speculate, to be honest, right? So we're creating this world where everything is becoming super leveraged. And that's really one way to trade it as a trader or investor. But in this case, even investors are becoming traders. So that's one perspective. The other thing about how things are becoming super leveraged, prediction markets. Honestly, I've been blown away by the level of adoption of prediction markets. I think these could be the next big thing, right? From Kalshi to Polymarket, they're doing very, very well. But that's just the environment we're in, right? And one of the things to kind of tie this back to the professor, if I can find, I'm horrible at saying his name, but basically it's called Predictive History. It's a channel on YouTube, highly recommend it. But basically he says at the peak of an empire about to die, because every empire dies, it enters this cycle of hyper speculation, right? Where everything is basically fugazi, right? Everything is just kind of made up, right? Financial engineering, right? Whether it's the stock market, and that's what's happening with the markets, right? Even crypto, right? We go from people thinking it's just fake internet money to literally people not even having to own spot assets in crypto, right? Perps are taking over crypto, whether Bybit, whether Hyperliquid, right? And now the next evolution of those perps are prediction markets. So now literally people can go onto Kalshi and Polymarket and speculate on anything. Initially it was politics, but you can literally bet on sports. You can bet on somebody mentioning something. The final explosion in empires, right? In capitalism. But anyway, I think some fascinating stuff worth keeping an eye on. I think it's pretty cool how all these kind of tie together in terms of the US dollar, crypto, AI, financial speculation, prediction markets. Yeah, so it's called, just go to YouTube, put in Predictive History, Professor Jiang. Worth looking into. He came out of nowhere, now has almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Maybe somebody get him to post his videos on Pump.fun. That'd be pretty funny. All right, we crossed 50K market cap. Look at that. Pay Dex. Oh, so basically to pay for the token on Dex Screener. Because people are saying these are bots and they're going to rug after the stream. Hey, I mean, we'll learn. But for now, I think we kind of figured it out. Good thing we're streaming, but also streaming across different platforms. All right, let me take maybe one more question, then we can wrap things up. What time is it? Can you tweet that you're going to buy back with pump fees that get paid? Okay, looks like a lot of people are trying to tell me something here. I mean, we'll have a lot of streams. we're looking to, because we have listed stuff on Deck Screener before, like with TMAI, but I believe that takes time. You have to submit an application, pay them. So if that's what you guys mean by paying Deck Screener, that's something we can definitely do to get it officially listed. Yeah, so I'll tell the team to submit TM Live to Deck Screener. All right, so appreciate the looking out. Let's maybe take one last question, then we wrap up. I gotta go have dinner. Okay, don't pay Dex for them. Man, these pump.fun trenches are crazy. All right, well, looks like we don't have any other questions. Oh, this is pretty cool. So we have about 21% of the tokens in the liquidity pool. No, but I can see what all the hype is about pump. It's pretty cool. All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna wrap things up here. We'll figure out when the next live stream is, but I think this is pretty cool. We could do it maybe tomorrow or even in a few days, but I think we'll definitely do one more live stream at least. So as we like to say,
we just landed on the moon in the Lambo. Taking pictures with us.
Are we crashing? We are not. I mean, hey, some people have diamond hands, some people have paper hands, but I think this is pretty cool. We're now streaming on more platforms. I've been hearing a lot about Kick as well. Obviously, it's not crypto per se. Actually, I think that maybe tied to the old crypto ICO back in like 2017. But I hear they have a pretty good, I guess, platform for streaming. Then we'll also try to figure out how we can stream to Telegram, so we can be on all the different mediums people are on. Now we did get some pretty good viewership on Pump. Let me see if I can see the numbers here. Okay, it's not showing me the numbers. But it's crazy. 500,000 in trading volume off a live stream. This is wild. And I see creator rewards. We made what, $1,800 from live streaming. I can see what all the rage is about. Now, I don't know how long these rewards last. Oh, did I move? Whoops, looks like. Okay, I hope that didn't stop the stream. Okay, yeah, we're still here. We're still here. We're still alive. All right, yeah, that's pretty cool. Not too shabby. All right, so maybe we get this to 2K creator rewards. We're currently at 65 market cap. Looks like some people are pump faking. Hey, maybe that's the pump fake. 13x in 6 hours. I mean, so we were talking about pump.fun. So thinking about, I'm sorry, not pump.fun, prediction markets. There's a lot of money to be made in prediction markets. For those of you who know, in the past before crypto, I was thinking of getting into gambling for sports. I love basketball. I love the NBA. I was thinking of basically taking money and creating a Moneyball system of just betting on the NBA, kind of like Moneyball for basketball. But from all the research I read about sports and betting and gambling and gaming, basically, if you're beating the house, they ban you, they boot you off, right? Because the house always wants to win. They want to keep their edge. So if somebody else has an edge, it's very hard to win, right? But why prediction markets are pretty cool. They're basically creating a free market where, as long as there's liquidity, you can bet on anything, and the house does not have to win, right? So I think there's a lot of money to be made in prediction markets. Now, I haven't had the time to kind of go down the rabbit hole, but I've read about people making money from small accounts just betting on Polymarket with their edge. So I think that's something. If I was new to crypto, I would be looking at Polymarket, Kalshi, trying to find an edge, and I would just kind of have a system. Whether your system is mathematics driven, whether it's arbitrage driven, but it's kind of like ICOs back in the day. Oh man, the price is crashing. Looks like some people are going to sleep. But this is pretty cool. Oh wow, so it also does clipping. I had no idea Pump.fund did clips. That's crazy. They've really done a pretty good job with this. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody for walking me through how to set this up. We are officially live. I think we'll have to keep on doing some more of these streams. The people on Pump are begging me to pay to get listed on Deck Screener, but then the crypto family is saying don't get farmed. I think I appreciate all the words of wisdom. All right, guys. Yeah, let's wrap it up here. We're gonna go have dinner. As we like to say, the moon is not the limit to the moon and beyond. And I'll be back. I think this was pretty dope. I'll be back. Maybe you guys won't know when I'll be back, but I'll be back soon, and we'll do the stream again. And yeah, let's bunker down. It's winter. It's getting cold, but I don't think this bull run is over. I've given you guys my perspective on what is needed for this to continue. Right, Cliff Notes version. The trade wars have to end, and Trump has to take Powell out and put in his guy that's going to print this to infinity and cause the Fugazi Olympics to happen, right? The financial speculation to happen, kind of like how I talked about predictive history and Professor Jiang. And he believes, kind of like with my prediction, well, mine was more for Bitcoin and crypto peaking in spring 2026. He thinks the US dollar and the potential war coming with the Middle East and Iran will happen around spring 2026. Bitcoin could be a flight to safety. Bitcoin could become the ultimate store of value, right? So when that happens, fall in love with every altcoin because of parallel. There'll be a lot more tokens, 100x more tokens fighting over little capital. So as a result, we have to trade this cycle. It's a trader-driven, narrative-driven, attention-driven economy and cycle. It becomes financial fugazi, financial speculation, which is why perps are doing well, which leads to a lot of leverage into the crypto markets, which can be flushed out very quickly, which leads to even more speculation with prediction markets. So like all this is going to lead to basically financial implosion. So we have to just kind of situate ourselves in the best way possible to take advantage of this for both ourselves financially and our families and future generations. So we're not left holding wheelbarrows of cash that are worthless. With that being said, I'll see you on the next stream. Take care.